In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, still we are talking about a Prophet Ibrahim, peace and blessings be upon him. From Haran, he traveled to Palestine. He settled for a while. He settled for a while in Hebron. The nowadays Hebron, it's known near to Jerusalem, near to Al-Quds. From there, during a famine that occurred those days, he went to Egypt. He and his wife, Sarah, is also his female cousin. She was beauty. When they went to Egypt, the king of Egypt at those times, they went to Egypt. The king of Egypt at that time was a wicked person, was an oppressor. He is not less than Nimrod. He was working for them, Nimrod, but they are the same style. He heard about Sarah. So he thought that he will take her. But as a wife, if she is not married, he will rape if she is married. He will take her, whatever is the case. So he sent somebody to Ibrahim, they asked him about Sarah. Is she your wife? He said, no, she is my sister. He knows that if he said, she is my wife, they will kill him, definitely. But he said, she is my sister, planning that next day the king will come, send somebody to ask Ibrahim to give him his sister as a wife. And then they will do a party, a wedding party, whatsoever, and there is no problem. But during the night, Ibrahim decided to escape from Egypt back to Palestine, to Hebron. Something happened. That was the plan of Ibrahim. But before he started to travel, the soldiers came back and they said, well, the king now is drunk, and he said there is no need for wedding party or something, just get her, get Sarah. Now Ibrahim has no power. He's alone. So he starts to supplicate to God. He knows God very well, that God will not allow this. The soldiers took Sarah. Sarah told him, not to worry, Ibrahim. So they took her and they took her to the palace of the king. The king is drunk. Tried to touch her, but he felt like a paralysis. He couldn't catch. And he thought that difficulty in breathing. So he thought that he's gonna to die. He said, please, please, pray to your God and I will leave you alone. She prayed to God. He said, well, maybe it was, maybe it is a delusion. It's not real. So he tried again. He asked again her to pray. So he tried for the third time. But he found that this is real. He was about to be killed. He was about to die. Go to your, wherever he is, your brother or husband, wherever it is, go and take this present. He gave her Hagar as a housemaid. Hagar, the housemaid, was not a slave. She was a princess. She was a daughter of one of the kings in Egypt. But this oppressor conquered the land of her father, and he took her as a slave. And then gave her to Sarah as a gift. While Ibrahim was still in his prayer, Sarah came with her housemaid and said, Ibrahim, God saved me and gave me a present, a housemaid. Ibrahim took them with his nephew Lot and traveled immediately from Egypt back to Palestine, to Hebron. To Hebron, there were living as a Bedouin in the desert, in tents. There he stayed. After a while, years, Sarah now became old. And he also. She was barren, she has no children. So she offered Ibrahim the chance that he got married to. She said, Ibrahim, why don't get married to Hagar? Maybe you will have offspring. Maybe. She's a righteous person. She's a righteous girl. She's a righteous woman. She is Muslim now. She is following us in our religion. She is honest, truthful, dependable, and I suggest that you marry her. Says Ibrahim, okay, and he get married to Hagar. But once she get pregnant, jealousy started. Sarah felt jealous that she is barren while Hagar get pregnant. She hated that idea because this is out of her love to Ibrahim. Nobody blame her. Nobody can blame her at all. So, out of this jealousy, a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and instructions came to take Hagar and her baby Ismail to another place, 1,000 kilometers to the south, to nowadays Mecca, inside the Arabian desert. A place where there is no agriculture, no people are living there, no water. So how can people live in a place where there is no water? Of course, there will be no agriculture, of course, by default. But this was the order of God. God is all wise. He knows everything. All his acts and instructions are following his wisdom. He knows everything. All knowing, all wise. Almighty, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He listens to this order and he prepared a few camels. He equipped them with food like butter, dates, water, fruits, cereals, whatever is there. God knows what was the food in those days. Now we are talking about something happened 4,000 years ago. He traveled all along from Palestine to Mecca. In those days, Mecca was a desert. Nobody was living there. There is no water and there is no agriculture. There is no even the migratory, even the migrating birds does not go through that place. There is no water. He left them there because God told him to do so. Hagar, the righteous woman, the Egyptian woman, in a land that it's not her land, in a country that it's not her country. Even if there is people around her, she cannot talk to them. Different language, different culture. Whether they will accept her or not to accept, whether they are murderers, criminals, thieves, she doesn't know. She was alone. She asked Ibrahim, I will ask you one question, Ibrahim. Did Allah told you to do so? He said, yes. She said, so why you are grieving? Why you are sad? Why did you cry, Ibrahim? Trust in God. He prayed to her and then he left to Palestine. Left alone, this woman with her son. Of course, after a while, the food and water should finish. The baby started to cry. She gave him breastfeeding. But finally, herself, hungry, cannot breastfeed. There is no solution in front of her except to ask for help from other people, anybody traveling around, or people comes for hunting or something, maybe. So she saw a small mountain, a rock. She went there, she climbed the rock. Nobody. She cried. Nobody listens. About 400 to 500 meters away, there was another small mountain. She went there. She did this move. The pacing between this mountain and the other mountain, she did that 7 times. By this we conclude this episode. In the next episode, inshallah, we will tackle her act and what was the end for her and for her baby. Till then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.